And so without further ado, Lou, if you want to introduce our speaker, our business spotlight for this evening.
Sure, thank you, Mary. And for those who are new to the meeting, one of the primary missions of Women in NAACP, at least our branch, is to identify and promote and work to help grow those businesses that are owned by Black women here in the area. So each month we present a particular business that is Black female owned and give them some time to describe their background and their business and how we can take advantage of that. I'm trying to bring a variety of different kinds of businesses. We're all pretty much aware of those that are in cosmetology and a lot of people that are selling various kinds of products. But I'm trying to demonstrate that we have such a wealth and such a breadth of different diversity and different kinds of businesses that our sisters own and manage and are being successful with. We have in the past had a massage therapist on, we had a photographer and a woman who has a vegan food business. So we're just trying to show that we have a lot of different areas that we are covering. And today we have for you Ms. Ricki King. Ricki is a genealogist. I won't go into a lot of detail because I don't want to steal her thunder. But, as she said, the name of her business is Roots To Branches, and she spends a lot of time digging into our history to find out who we are related to and what our past is about. So without further ado, Ricki, go ahead, please.
Okay, thank you. I'll tell you a little bit about me to start off. I was born in Burlington, Iowa, but I grew up here in Des Moines and graduated from Roosevelt, because that's the basic of me. And I worked 30 years at John Deere until 2018 when I retired early. And I retired early so I could start this business, Roots To Branches Genealogy. History has always been a passion. So the last 5 years of my job, I actually started on my process to be owning my own business by just doing what I needed, writing a business plan, like you guys all know, do business plans. But then I came across an article in AARP about how to start your own business after you're 50 years old. And I was just at 50. So I'm like, oh, this is perfect. So I went to the Iowa Women's Center and they taught me how to, with their Dream Builder program, how to really learn about doing the financials, how to come up with a niche. And with their help, they actually got me a name. Just talking to people on how to get a name I didn't know. And with them, I branched off slowly, doing my research, talking to more people. I took more classes, and which the basic one I took that helped me the most, I think, is I took a genealogical research class from Boston University. And you can get certified in genealogy, which I'm not certified, because that's a long process. I ended up writing a whole story that got published to get certified that I didn't get certified on, and most people don't get certified the first year. But my story I wrote for the certification got published in our National Genealogical Magazine, which is a membership magazine, peer reviewed. So I'm like, yay to me. But it proved to me that I knew what I was doing by taking this class, because you're always kind of in the back of your head. You don't know if you're really right there or not. Here, let me change. Do this. I know what I'm doing. But the hard part of me, once I'm starting the business, was my focus. And I wanted to do Blacks in Iowa. And I always thought, well, you know, there's not a lot of Blacks in Iowa. Is it really going to be beneficial for me to do that? Will I be able to make money working on Blacks in Iowa? So when I kind of put back looking to collect funeral programs, my business at that time was called In Living Memory. And I was just collecting older funeral programs because, as everyone knows, they tell your family history. So I thought I can get a base going with some family history on people. I got some of that. That's, of course, when everything went digital. So I kind of closed that business up and moved it into this one. So I've got the funeral programs going here. I'm still trying to figure out if I'm going to do the Blacks in Iowa more, if it's going to make money. And taking all these courses I'm doing, I realized I'm not going to make money. I can't even get Blacks even interested in even letting me do their history for free just so I can get experience. So I dropped that and just went, I'll just go broad and just do anyone's history and or house histories. So I've been for the last, up to 2020, for 2018 to 2020, I was jumping back and forth between what kind of product I was going to put out for genealogy research. And I came back full circle to being, I just want to help people learn their family history. And I'm successful, but I'm kind of lucky has been successful, because I would rather you do your own research than you hire me to.
Hey, Ricki, you're freezing up. I don't know if you can hear me or not. It might help if you turn off your video and just use your audio.
Okay.
I'm talking to Ricki.
Oh, okay.
Am I still frozen?
Yeah, you just
Yeah.
unfroze.
Okay.
You might want to turn off your video because that's usually what takes up the most bandwidth.
Okay, I'll turn it off.
Okay.
Yeah, and we missed the last portion that you mentioned about you were helping families to do their research, and you say hire, and then we didn't, as a resource thinking. So
Okay.
repeat that.
I want to help people do their family history research. So I'm not trying to get people to hire me. I want people to come to me to help them get started doing the research. So I hire out for bigger companies like yours. I do forensic research for probate work. That's where I want to make my money at. I want you to get interested in doing your own family history because I want you to tell your story. I want you to pass it on. So I'm kind of twofold on, I want to be successful, but I really want you to do your own research. Because once you do your own research, you get in the love of doing the research. And I just get you started. And it's not about, the part of the way I do genealogy is, I don't research your whole family. I'm researching a question like, who was my great-grandfather's father? I answer that one question, and then you hire me to do the next question. But in my case is, I help you get started doing your research, and then you continue it on. So that's my philosophy on, I think, why I've been successful is I'm trying to help people do their own. And the pandemic, for me, the pandemic has been, Black Lives Matter and the pandemic has been a boost because it's gotten my name out there more. And with COVID, people, as I said, I want people to do their own research. People started doing it. And then once the pandemic was, or into 2020, people realized they really didn't know how to do their research, so they got stuck. And now they're coming to help hire me to do the research. I just had a government office contact me to do some research. So it's not just family history I can do it for a lawyer that might be looking for someone that a probate case and they're looking for a lost heir. With the new adoption laws, I can help someone. If you don't know, the new adoption law, you can now get your original birth certificate if you were adopted, and it'll tell you who your mother was. Most of them won't tell you who the father, but I can help them trace their mother and help them get that paperwork together to do that if they don't know how to do it themselves. I'll help them fill it out. So I do a variety of genealogy work, and to get my name out there in my business, I volunteer. It's all about volunteering. I volunteer for projects I like, not just because my name out there. I go for history, which I'm a volunteer at the Genealogy Society, the State Historical Society. And because of that, I talk to the archive people there, and they also recommend me to people and help me. And part of that is I'm on the board for the State Historical Iowa History Foundation, which gets my name out there. So people are researching about me. But I get to, when people learn about me at the history organizations. I'm sorry, I lost my dog barked and it made me lose my train of thought. When you get your name out there, it helps you, they recommend you to more people. So I do that, and I contact as I'm doing my own research, I contact and get my name out there to other people. And I've been able to do presentations since the pandemic, which is totally outside my comfort zone. I never thought I'd ever give a presentation. I've given like 5 of them this year. And I got another one left. But it reinforces to me, I guess I know what I'm doing. And this is, everyone says I'm successful, but in my head, I always need to get out there and rethink about how am I doing? And so I don't want to get too in my head and say, oh, I'm just so good. I don't have to talk to people or have help. But genealogy is based on everyone helping everyone else. So it's not all about me. I need help getting research done. I might have to contact someone out of state to do some research for me. So I'm always looking for help. I'm always looking for suggestions. My niche is, as I said, Blacks in Iowa, which I thought I would never make business on, but it has come out that that is my business maker, not because I'm doing a lot of Black research, but because when people see that I've done that kind of research and I write stories about it, that I'm able to do anyone's research. It doesn't have to be a Black person's. I've done research in the Bahamas because the guy said, he saw that I had done some Black research. He goes, well, why can't you do the Bahamas research too? And he wanted someone in the Midwest to do the research, even though I was going to be in the Bahamas. He wanted a Midwest person. He says, I like the Midwest's working ethics, which I thought was great. So I done that. I'm trying to think, I'm sorry. And another thing I do is when I volunteer, I give back to community by helping, but I'm also mentoring a mentor volunteer where I volunteer. The program's called Forever Free, and we're researching the Blacks that are buried in Woodlawn Cemetery that were in the Civil War, or freedom seekers, the slaves, freedom seekers, or they were conductors, or I can't think of the other word. Conductors are people who help people go from place to place on the Underground Railroad that are buried in Woodlawn Cemetery. And we're trying to get that recognized as a National Park Service.
Wow.
So that's kind of, I'm involved in a lot of things. So I'm like, I've got so many things going through my head that I have to watch what I do. And the big thing is I love my job so much now. After I said I retired from John Deere, 31 years, 3 years of doing this job, I have to tell my friends that they say, you're retired, you're busier now than you were when you were actually working at John Deere. And I'm like, no, I've only retired from John Deere. I have not retired. Yeah. I'm working at something I love, and I have to set business hours because I'll end up working too late at night, and then I'm too tired in the morning because I've stayed up too late. So, and I give myself vacation. I haven't paid myself yet, but I do give myself a vacation schedule, time off schedule, so that I treat this as a business, not a hobby. And that's, my first thought was when I retired was I was treating it too much like a hobby. And once I got that, I can see my growth potential everywhere. And then I listen to my mom. She's my biggest booster in making sure that I keep on track and I'm doing what I'm saying I'm going to do. And then to grow, I go to professional conferences, our Association of Professional Genealogists. They give a conference every year. They teach you how new services. They don't really give you pricing because every part of the country is different. If like in Iowa, there is one certified genealogist and she's now no longer taking clients. So I'm the most educated person in Iowa right now taking clients. So that helps me. I have a certificate and I've done the training, so people say, yes, that's not a certification, but it's just as good as a certification. And they'll look for that when they're hiring people. And what else do I do? I just make sure I'm up to date on everything. And I try to stay up to date as much as possible. Because I think if you let that go, you're letting your business go and you're not showing your potential to everyone else out there. You're lackadaisical. Why would someone want to hire you? You're not taking the time to update your skills every year. I might not be able to take conferences, most of them out of state, or the week-long conferences all the time, but at least every other year, I make sure I do one of the national conferences, a professional conference, so I can show I'm trying to grow myself. And I write a blog. That's another way to keep my business active in Google searches. So when you Google my name, Google my business, I'll pop up closer to the top. My biggest thing is that helped me. I really did want to run for president, and I ran for president, and that was a goal. But in the course of running for that, I realized it was a good promotion. It was a good promotion thing for me, because every time that people saw my name, it brought up my business. And people were going to LinkedIn, Googling my name. They just learned more about why this lady was running for president. Who was this lady? So they were looking at my business again. So I think you want to think outside the box. For me, for genealogy, since it's an odd family history research, people don't think of that right. Most people don't know you can hire someone to do your family history research. So I always have to come up with something that gets my name up there and promote my business. But I love it. I'm enjoying it. And I'm sorry if I kind of rattled. Do you have any questions or anything?
I have
Yeah,
some.
It'd be easier. Okay.
Go ahead,
Yeah.
Sharon.
Yeah, thank you.
I'll turn my video on.
Okay, you said you were running for president. Certain things hit my mind. President of the genealogy, but not president of the United States. I mean, which presidency were you running for, you said?
You're freezing again. Ricki.
Yeah.
Yes, you did. Was I the only one wondering that? Maybe.
Yeah, I was too. That was a question I had too. And any other questions you ladies may have, put them in the chat, and
Okay.
we'll continue to collect them. So hopefully Ricki
makes it back.
she may come back.
Yeah.
But while she's coming back, I know in our family, there's a family member of ours that is taking the lead of gathering all the information, and we use familysearch.org. That is an app that you can use, and you can map out your family we've assigned a representative from each family, from each family unit to identify an inputter. We call them an inputter. So what I had to do is I had to input all the information for my sisters, my brother, their husbands, their kids, their grandkids, and so forth. And so each one of us, each family unit, shared the information and inputting the data, and our cousin in Chicago has put it all together. We've had photos, we've added photos of my parents, my grandparents. And so it is, like Ricki said, I mean, it's to get started, you do need someone that, can kind of take the lead and mother it, so that it all comes together. But we use familysearch.org to put the information in. And so I can see across all families in California, New York, New Jersey, Chicago. So it's fun to see that. So I just wanted to add that. Now Ricki's back. Okay.
Sorry. Did you say you use familysearch.org is the app you use?
Yeah, that's the app we use.
There's one thing about this. Sorry, my dog's in the other room that's barking. Sorry, I've been online all day, and this is the first it's froze up. This is now.
Okay.
Familysearch.org, you got to be careful. It's a one tree. So I can go in and change anything on Mary's family tree that I don't like and change it to something else. And then she can go back and rechange it.
Okay.
So it's not a stable one. I suggest it's a free program. You can get it for free. It's called rootsmagic.com. You can download the program, and each of your family members can download. You'll be able to share information that way too.
That was Roots Magic.
Roots Magic.
Could you put it in the chat?
Yes, I can put it in.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'll put it in the chat. There's another question. What is the biggest challenge families face as they're researching their history?
Just not talking to each other, just not giving information. When I started, my grandmother didn't know her grandparents' names. And that's what actually got me started. It's like she couldn't tell me her names. But the other challenge is spelling. Don't worry about the spelling of a name, because it's gonna change over time. Also, family stories you hear, they only hold a grain of truth. There's always something in there, but not all of it's true. So third, if you say your family's related to a Native American, I would go on and say, no, you're not, unless you know they lived on the reservation or lived in Oklahoma. That's probably the better chance. If they're from Iowa, you're probably not related to a Native American. But that's the questions you always get that way. I saw another, let me answer why I locked up. I ran for president of the United States of America. You guys didn't answer that question while I was gone.
No, we didn't know. We were asking.
Yeah, okay, yes. I did. I ran for United States of America. I was only on the Iowa ballot though. But I made history. That was my goal, was to make history as the first, I just did as the first Black female, but it turned out I'm the first Black Iowan ever to run for history. And my cousin Dana Chandler was my vice president. So she became the first Black female ever to run for vice president in Iowa. And we're the first family members ever to run as well. So we gave them all our political information. So we'll get Historical Society now. So they'll feature us at some point or put something out there on us.
Okay, so Ricki, another question related to children and child protective service. How would you approach family finding so children can go with family members versus age out?
Oh. You would have to do a search on the parents. And I would go down both lines of their parents. If someone actually worked for Family Protective Services on the call, well, I would like to work with them. We can try to set up a plan or something to see how this would work better.
So I think this is part of our work that we're doing as we try to get children into families, because Wynn is doing that, trying to get children placed with family. And this is a big factor, is really being able to find family for some of these kids, because that's been one of the challenges, is that either their parents have, because of their behavior, have become disconnected, or they don't know all of their family, or sometimes they were actually placed out of placement, so they don't have a good understanding. But it would be great if we could pick this as a piece of the work that we're doing around the placements for children. So if we could include Ricki on some of those conversations, I think it'd be great.
Yeah. So Ricki, what have you found out about Blacks buried in the Woodland Cemetery?
There's several of them. They were the members of the Iowa 60th Regiment, which is the Black regiment. And a lot of them were slaves or freedom seekers. And I think I just did like 5 or 6 of them, looked at their Civil War record information, and it tells you, a couple of them actually said they were slaves and told you who their slave owner was. And so I'm not doing their whole research. I'm just trying to prove that they were a runaway slave, which they're calling freedom seekers now. I got to correct myself on that. I'm just trying to prove that, because with that proof, it's another way to get Woodlawn Cemetery on the National Park Services. And I think there was 10 of them I just did this weekend, just on the Blacks alone. That's what I'm doing. And then part of this mentoring program is we want to get more Blacks involved in this and I looked into this. I happened to contact the guy on the program director out of Nebraska. He's not even out of Iowa. On some research I had seen he had done online to see if he had original copies, since I couldn't go to the courthouse to get it. And he must have done research on me, because he literally emailed me back asking me, yes, but would you join this mentor program? I'm trying to get people involved. And as we're talking, we had no Blacks. We couldn't get any information out there. We couldn't even get it on the news that we were doing this research and looking for descendants of these. It was Woodland, the Newton Cemetery that we're doing research on, and there's one Winterset that we're doing research back off. It got unstable again.
Yeah. Have you found any?
So we're trying to, huh?
Are there any connections to any families here?
We did. Woodlawn Cemetery, or not Woodlawn, the Newton Cemetery, you know, Yvonne Osley. Her family is connected to the Newton Cemetery, which I knew that prior to it, but at least we had a family member. I haven't been able to get any Blacks yet. And I put on if you go to my Facebook page or my blog, it's Roots to Branches Genealogy, and go to my blog, I have a list of all the veterans we're researching that we're looking for descendants of. There's a lady that's buried there that she was a conductor. She didn't actually work in Iowa, but she was in Ohio and moved to Iowa here and died. I found her living descendants. And I thought I had found, I think it was Jeff Logan is the freedom seeker's name, his descendants, but it turned out they said it wasn't the same, but I think they're mistaken. I'm pretty sure I found them, but they're saying it's not the same person. But I know there's got to be more of them still living here in Iowa, because we don't leave a lot. He descendants right here in Des Moines of these people. Henry, if you know Henry Bell and Peter Bell, that was the big ones that had a lot of family members I thought might still be here in town. So.
Well, Ricki, that sounds like a grant opportunity because of, you know, like with the historical societies in the various cities, the municipalities in the greater Des Moines area, many of them receive grants from Bravo, which is a cultural arts organization, but they also get grants from that organization. And it sounds like to me that, you know, that would be something that would be worth pursuing to, you know, if there's any resource that's needed to do something like that. It's interesting and valuable information for us as we collect history, because we're losing history by not, you know, researching, and people are dying. Well, you know, older people are dying and taking the history with them. And so we don't have that. So you are on something that's really valuable that I think is worth finding resources that can invest in that.
We do have a grant right now for what we're doing right now. There isn't, but it's not much, but I would like to continue it, and I'm sure the director of the program would. So any help, even if it's just get the word out there that we're looking for this.
Yeah, so had you thought about partnering with the African American Museum in Cedar Rapids? So there's that
Yes.
a base where, you know, in a partnership, you can leverage the influence that you both have in gathering this information.
Yes, we are looking at them as well. We're looking for anything that would help. But the key right now is if we can get the word out with people, that could help bring in money, sponsors that we might not even realize to connect with, or haven't focused on yet. Mm-hmm. The other thing that, like about getting information out there and keeping the history alive, is if anyone knows the relations of funeral home records are a good resource to do genealogy research. Mrs. Estes, she still has the funeral home records, Estes's funeral home. If we can anyone can talk to her to hopefully get her to donate her records to the State Historical Building. There's a Hemet and Robinson funeral home that used to be around here. Mm-hmm. And I randomly ran into a son-in-law of the, I can't say son-in-law, but a member, he married into the family. They still have their funeral home records, and we can get them to donate their records to the State Historical Society. And there was a Tug Wilson. I don't know if anyone's ever heard of them. I discovered them in my research. Get them to donate their records, because the person who buys the plot is usually the closest family member, and that might be the only way you're going to connect people together. You can connect them. If someone died here in Des Moines and you're looking for their grave here in Des Moines, you never can find it. That funeral home record might be the record that tells you they actually were buried in Burlington, Iowa. Mm-hmm. That's why you're not able to ever find it. So that's why it's key information on how important those records are Fowler Funeral Home records are already at the state historic.
Mm-hmm.
And they have been a gold mine. So we've got to get our Black-owned businesses to donate the records. Even if you're just a regular business, your family history, your business history is something the State Historical Society is looking for right now.
Mm.
Blacks are not donating our history to the African American Museum, and we're not donating it to the State Historical Museum. So we got to get it out there, one of the two places. And you don't have to be Black to donate your history, but I'm like, right now, that's something that we're looking at trying to get to do. And I think the last big project out there was the Pattons. They were the last big family history thing that was going out there.
And I think I know why, like some folks they hold on to the information rather than giving it away. I know I had a lot of information that I received from someone here in Des Moines that was history of the Black Panther, when Black Panthers were here in the late 60s, and names that I recognized like Mary Ream, and there were some other names in a document. And even the register. So all of that information, it was when I got ready to send it to the Cedar Rapids or the museum in Cedar Rapids, there were some younger African-American professionals that were looking at that information, and it was like they were taking pictures of it because it was like new information, organizing information on voting, that it was priceless information. So I know there's probably some families that have information in their home and they're just holding on to it and not giving it up so that it can be held for posterity. So good work, Ricki. We appreciate doing.
Thank you.
Yeah, any other questions, ladies? Well, this is, oh my gosh. So you'd have to come back and visit with us again to tell us how, your the progress of your work. And Lou, you got a question?
Yeah, what is the address of your blog? I found a blog that says rootstobranches.com, but it's not yours. So what is that?
No, it's Roots To Branches Genealogy.com. I did put a link in there to the chat to the direct story that I was referencing with all the conductor's information.
So that's where the blog is with all that, with that too.
Yes.
Thanks.
If you click on it, it'll take you right to the story.
Okay.
I guess you'd have to take can someone take a picture of that in the, Janice, are you still on the line?
But if you just type Roots To Branches Genealogy.com,
Yeah.
you did get a picture, okay. And it's under it's got the title blog, and it's a drop down and you go to that.
Yeah. But if they click this link that's in the chat, so if we can put that in our notes, that would be good, or put it on our website. That's why I was asking someone to take a picture of that so that we can put it in a place where they can click on that to go to where they can find some additional information.
Okay.
Ricki, when you mentioned the soldiers, had you had any conversation with the Fort Des Moines Museum?
No, because that's World War II, and I'm only looking at the Civil War. So I've been with the volunteer at the Fort Des Moines, but it's I actually started volunteering with the Fort Des Moines. What started getting me to volunteer more years ago.
Yeah.
And Margaret, I don't want you to forget. I'm going to put my number in the chat, Margaret. If you take that as well, contact me about the families, because I would like to work on that. That's something I haven't come across, but I think that'll be beneficial.
That would be so good. Any other questions, ladies? Well, Ricki, we sure appreciate you coming and appreciate Lou finding you and presenting you to the group so that you could share your story. And so thank you so much for the work that you're doing. And just let us know how we can, if there's anything that we can do as a group, the Women in NAACP can do to support your effort. And with the information that you have, we will put that on our website so that people can find out additional information about you. That's why I wanted that link that you put in the chat so that we can put that there. So thank you, Ricki. So